Are Slann Mage-Priests really that powerful in patch 6.3.4? They're pretty powerful, folks. There's a reason why availability is intentionally limited, since you're going to unlock one every time you get a free right going with 250 spawning sequence. You're picking up potential ones anyway, so let's look at how strong they get, shall we? Recruited for 1000 gold and 250 upkeep. As in, they're not even as expensive as a Kroq-Gar Ancient, let alone any lord with a big dino mount. On Ultra scale, they come with 6552 health. While beefy, that will vanish disturbingly fast, and their shape makes them really good targets for archers. Armor 45 isn't high enough to deter such attacks, and no shields at all. What will help against archers, for a time, is missile resistance 40%, dampening their damage. Leadership 85 is both good and bad. They're unlikely to flee when you'd prefer them to. Speed 34 and charge speed 44 isn't exactly slow on their hover platforms, but they don't get around like skinks. Melee attack base is 24 only, magical attack every blow. Attack interval 4 seconds, very large splash size, like some sort of chariot, and that means that they'll splash basically anything that isn't a character, or a giant. And max target splashed, crazily, is 6, so they spread that damage around for better or worse. Melee defense 32 is okay for a mage, I guess. Weapon strength 320 is split base 240 and armor piercing 80, which means he's a lot better at mass smiting zombies than other uses. Charge bonus is 14 and mass is 2500. The Slann can hide in forest, which is important, and has Strider, so no movement or combat penalties even in the thickest of jungles. Slann also have the skill that removes Rampage and gives plus 16 leadership for 40 seconds up to 200 meter range, single target, 60 second cooldown. Let's talk about the background traits, because Slann are only able to get the generation ones. These have undergone crazy changes. 4th generation ones grant ward save 15% for the entire army against enemies that spread corruption. Lokir won't count, Morathi will. Spell intensity gives plus 10% bonus, so spells are that degree more powerful. The Slann gets immunity to flanking, he gets melee attack plus 30 and melee defense plus 30. Yes, I know they started low, but that's a massive boost. Also, he gets a bonus to armor piercing damage of 300 per strike, so AT changes to 380. With max target splashed at 6, all of a sudden, you have a serious contender in the ring. Miscast chance gets a minus 25% modifier just by existing, wins reserve capacity plus 5, and that's that. 3rd generation gives spell intensity plus 20%. 200 points of free experience to every unit every turn. Characters and units get plus 50% experience gained in battle, so hero stacks get stronger faster along with everything else. Miscast chance minus 50%, so overcast to your heart's content. Barrier hit points plus 100 army-wide, and even at just 100, it really does help lower needless damage, and wins reserve plus 15. Not bad at all, but we're not done. 2nd generation gets spell intensity plus 40%. I am using Fire Slanns as my example, so just imagine a flame storm that instantly hits plus 40% harder. Yeah, that. Just by existing, you get a plus 50% chance that when winds of magic change in a province, they change in a positive direction, like you're getting help from Tzeentch. You're not, but as if. Miscast chance is minus 100%, so even with a Trickster's Shard running, that's hard to mess up. Wins reserve is plus 25, a substantial amount, and you get plus 1000 barrier hit points for the Slann himself. Note the lack of barrier hit points by default. While the blue line is entirely the same, the red line skills give a special goodie at the end. Shield of the Old Ones can be cast up to 150 meters away rather than around the Slann himself, and for 17 seconds, plus 8 leadership, plus 20% ward save for your side. So laugh off 20% of damage. Yay! The main thing to note about the main magic line is that the capstone is Greater Arcane Conduit, and beside mid-battle winds recharge plus 60%, it also grants spell intensity plus 15%, which stacks with whatever you get from the generation trait bonus. Note that Slanns do not start Immortal. That's the big limit on them for a lot of the game. In the top line, Telekinesis at rank 8 will add missile resistance plus 15%. Remember they start with 40%. Protection of the old ones is a more standard 10% spell resistance. Available at rank 4, Unfathomable Presence gives plus 800 barrier hit points. At rank 8, Soul of Stone gives miscast chance minus 40%. At rank 12, the Harrowing Scrutiny gives control plus 3 local province or negative 3 in enemy lands and adds causes terror. At rank 16, Transcendent Healing gives wound recovery time minus 1 for the Lord, which would matter for immortal ones, not dead ones, and grants regeneration to the Slann, which also adds 20% fire weakness. But healing is healing. There's a similar rank division with the other line left, and these are not mutually exclusive. Given time, you really can get them all. Reserves of Eldritch Energy gives wins minimum plus 10. This works like COD-type skill, so you can't go below 30 wins for that army in any battle. But Calming Cogitation is supposed to rob enemy armies of 15 wins in local province. Arcane Convergence adds plus 20 to your reserve. Focus of Mysteries gives 2 uses of Banishment as a bound spell, and free is free, so to speak. So how do we use the Slanns? I love the changes. This gives us a huge difference in style, but any way you slice it, the fact these can access 9 lores now. Did I mention that? That's a change. And priests can't. It's heavens or beasts, and oracles have lore master style eclectic magic use. Means you can truly use these as high-power mages to burn down entire enemy armies. Your ability to roast Gorst's zombie legions goes up immensely with the right caster. More to the point, it's not like they have to give anything up to be this good. The only issue you have is completely random generations when one is unlocked. You pick the lore, not the generation. But variety adds so much that I do not mind at all. All of the generation traits bring that much more just because all traits got helped out, and these became extra strong. So I encourage you to experiment, enjoy, and once all the magic is taken care of, do your red and blue line time homework on your way to rank 50. Crush legions, do stuff. What you do around the Slanns is important, however. This is why Temple Guard exists after all. 4th generation ones can bash around, but still, you do not want them hurt. You absolutely do not want them killed. You have to protect them because they are floating artillery pieces with their spells. So you have to rely on other kinds of heroes and single entity monsters, and so on for other specialties like anti-large, rip and tear. That's your Carnosaur, mounted or otherwise. But considering it's 250 upkeep only, in the end, go ahead and take some risks. Be extra careful with Skaven and Beastmen and all that, but a good army becomes fantastic with a Slann leading it, and Slann rarely make armies bad. But rank 1 ones are definitely not going to be as good, obviously. Take care, and have fun serving zombie flambe on an industrial scale.